And we're going live. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Monday night. It's another Gun Channel's Lock and Load show. And tonight's topic is chaos in the world chaos. And there's plenty of that. So we got all kinds of stuff to talk about. Also going to talk about the Ninth Circuit Hawaii case on open carry. Not holding my breath for the police chief to start issuing permits or nothing. So I can carry one of these around, or probably my revolver. But I think the Supreme Court will have to actually order the police chief to issue a permit. So I'll get to that case in a minute. I did talk about that in like a lobby, but I don't think anybody was listening. But it was a good warm-up. So first story. Well, amazingly, my camera is now working. So Windows had done an update to their software where Windows only recognized Microsoft approved devices. So my Dell laptop didn't have a Microsoft certified camera. It just had some whatever Dell put in there. And so it stopped working for a while. All of a sudden today it started working. I was like, shit, my camera's working finally. But anyway.
Getting a Dell.
Is that a commercial or something? Dude, I'm getting a Dell.
It's a commercial from like 20 years ago.
All right. Well, my memory isn't that good. So I was saying in the pre-chat that, yeah, if I actually buy this tank, I can park where I want. That's a good thing about owning a tank. But now I'm going to get on to the actual news story, first news story I wanted to talk about. Okay. Army on standby for no-deal Brexit emergency. Where's my news sound here? Here it is. So the British Army is on standby for a no-deal Brexit emergency. This is I guess, the London Times or the Sunday Times or whatever passes for paper in Britain. Ministers have drawn up plans to send in the army to deliver food, medicines, and fuel in the event of shortages if Britain crashes out of the EU without a deal. Blueprints for the armed forces to assist civilian authorities, usually used only in civil emergencies, have been dusted off as part of the no-deal planning. Helicopters and army trucks will be used to ferry supplies to vulnerable people outside the Southwest who were struggling to obtain medicines they needed. In today's business section, it revealed that supermarkets are warning their suppliers to stockpile supplies such as tea and coffee. And so basically they're going to issue ration cards, which hasn't been done in the UK since 1939 in World War II. And the thing that I think Nigel Farage brought up was, okay, there's like 240 nations on this planet, Earth, and there's only 23 nations in the EU. How do all the other countries get along? I mean, because they have to declare an emergency just because they're not going to be in the EU anymore and they can't get food and medicine to their citizens. I mean, just because they're leaving the EU. What's up with that? And there's basically they're saying that the UK farmers are complaining that if they crash out of the EU without a deal, then they won't have anybody to pick fruit and vegetables or something, the farmers. It's like, wait a minute, who picked the fruit and vegetables before you had imported labor through the EU labor? And it's like everything did people in London not know how to like pick fruit from a tree or something? What is happening over there?
No, man. Juan and Jose Jimenez picked the fruit. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think they exist. I don't think there's not many of them over there.
I mean, I don't know if they'd be. What's a good Spanish name? I don't know, man.
No, I think it's
migrant workers from other countries, right?
Migrant workers from sub-Saharan Africa and Syria, I suppose. I mean, and the mayor is Sadiq Khan, the guy with the anti-Trump balloon. I mean, the UK has been overrun, I mean, by and invaded by immigrants. And so I guess nobody's used to working at in a farm anymore. They've forgotten. So as soon as they crash out, they won't have food or medicine anymore. Is that the deal? I don't understand how that's possible. But
I don't either. It makes no sense. Maybe we're going to get out of the EU, but we don't. Then we won't have any food
or medicine. I mean, they're going to need the army to take over if they leave. Okay. It was like some politician put out a tweet that said, "God help us" or something. You know, it's like.
No, we're gonna have to rebuild, start building Liberty ship again and sending them supplies.
Yeah, if any of my UK friends need me to like send over a Mountain House or something, let me know. I'll just send over one of my number 10 cans of Mountain House. And
what if Donald Trump himself brought over relief supply? Oh wait, they won't let him in the country. Guess they're gonna starve.
You should just throw some paper towels at him from Air Force One.
Okay, next news story. Urban jungle at night. Amsterdam police powerless to stop late night mayhem. Okay. After turning a blind eye to rampant drug use and out of control tourists, Amsterdam's red light district has become an urban jungle at night, according to city ombudsman R. Zermond. Let's see. The city center becomes an urban jungle at night. Zermond told Dutch newspaper Trouw. I'm sure I totally fucked up the pronunciation on that. Criminal money flourishes, authority no longer exists, and the police can no longer handle the situation. Tasked with investigating the mayhem in the red light district, Zermond set up 3 CCTV cameras in the middle of the bustling, I'm not even trying to pronounce that word, square. Maybe I should because it'd be funny, but whatever. Located in the southwestern part of the city center, and was shocked at what was recorded. On one night, we counted 900 offenses, mainly between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m. The atmosphere is grim, and there is an air of lawlessness. Scooters race through the pedestrian areas. There is a lot of shouting. Drugs are being bought. There is stealing. There is violence, but no action. You can even piss on a mobile police van without the driver saying anything.
Well, now
the red light district is notoriously packed with revelers in the evenings who enjoy getting high and having sex. However, as is many times the case, cities which offer such vices are often plagued with the crime that comes with it. Human trafficking, for example, has long been a major issue in the district. Efforts to combat the phenomenon with Amsterdam's so-called Project 1012, named after the postal code, was only partially successful, according to an Amsterdam court. Zermond also talks about deepening problems coming from the city center, such as 2,000 illegal taxis and unregulated prostitution conducted outside the city's regulations. So they're still having some weird kind of sex, or they just didn't have their permit or something. So what's the plan? To combat the mayhem, Amsterdam is going to be experimenting with nuisance microphones, which will record and analyze the types of sounds coming from the city center, music, screams, vehicle traffic. If the noise exceeds a certain threshold, authorities will be dispatched. Well, they're going to need one of those leopard tanks. I mean, let me tell you, if you're going to...
No, just the sounds they're going to hear is just people getting it on. You know what I mean? What's going on down there in the red light district, huh?
Yeah, they should have make that pay-per-view. I mean, people could turn it on and watch.
So they have legalized prostitution on some level, right?
In Amsterdam, yeah. But look at this sign. Look at this sign down here. That's I mean, you know, if you've been in like an American city, you might have like a one of these police signs that says you are traveling at a certain speed and, you know, whatever the speed limit is. And here it says extremely dangerous cocaine is sold to tourists.
Odd.
Man, cocaine, you know, it's funny. You think cocaine isn't still alive, and then you hear so many stories about people and cocaine. It just blows your mind.
You talking about that cocaine?
Like, you know, in my mind, it's like it was real popular when my dad was a kid, and now, like, you hear all the time of people getting caught with cocaine.
Apparently, everyone in Amsterdam and all people who have immigrated there have like a DVD of the movie Scarface.
Yeah, Tony Montana. You know.
Yeah. Just
Hello to my little friend.
Say hello to my little friend. To combat the mayhem, the nuisance microphones, that would be a really big hit on YouTube or something. But anyway, another goal will be to actually serve justice on convicted criminals. According to the Ministry of Justice, just 12,000 of the 160,000 individuals who have been irrevocably convicted have actually had to serve time in jail. So you get convicted, but you don't have to go to jail. Okay.
It sounds like Massachusetts. They convicted a lot of people get fucked up and they just let them out.
Well, Amsterdam also attracts a large number of convicts fleeing justice because people in Amsterdam can simply apply for a passport with minimal background checks. Hundreds of alleged street criminals are able to simply disappear. The city will also crack down on stolen cars, linking a license plate scanning system to their vehicle registration. Oh, shit, I had to register my car a couple of days ago. Yeah, it's a whole nother story. Vehicle registration register, in which stolen car information is also stored. If a car turns up hot and someone is driving it, the police will immediately be notified. And if the stolen car. So this is going to be like a cross between Scarface and Grand Theft Auto, right? If a stolen car is parked, it will be towed away. Amsterdam will also be cracking down on unregistered Albanians.
Unregistered Albanians.
800 Albanians.
Crops and stuff.
800 Albanians are registered with the basic administration, whatever that means. According to the police, this group was not a problem for a long time until authorities thought up to set up an Amsterdam page on existing Albanian website. In 1 year, those pages were visited from the Dutch capital by 30,000 different IP addresses, usually via the most expensive iPhone models and encrypted crypto phones. Which it was relatively easy to establish that Albanian problem is much larger than expected, and the policy the police could be adjusted. Let's see. In April, NL Times reported that Albanians are playing a leading role in the Amsterdam underworld, engaged in cocaine trafficking, human trafficking, and property crimes. According to police, these Albanian criminals lead the cocaine import from South America, the transshipment via the port of Rotterdam, and the further distribution to other European countries from Amsterdam. In addition to the Netherlands, Albanians are also very active in the drug trade in Great Britain. The number of Albanian criminals active in Amsterdam's underworld continues to increase. According to the police, there is much more firearm violence around cocaine trafficking than with other drugs. The police see growing use of illegal firearms, including automatic firearms. So Grand Theft Auto, Scarface, and Full Auto. Okay, that sounds like fun. I need to check on the prices for an Expedia airplane ticket there.
I'm pretty sure like they have heavy firearms restrictions. And
well, that isn't stopping anyone from getting full auto for some reason.
Or stealing and selling people.
But the funny thing is, did these folks not ever think that this was never going to get this way?
Which come from conflict areas
out there.
And all this stuff comes from conflict areas in Ukraine, Syria, Mali, and Libya. There's also many weapons from Russia, where Army has written off 4 million Kalashnikov rifles. Okay, so basically all the immigrants are bringing from these war-torn countries are bringing firearms so they can start their own Tony Montana style "the world is not enough" gang.
Next, they're gonna get two white tigers.
For Albania, James.
Ah.
I mean, what did they expect over the years for it to happen over there? Just, let's just let everybody do drugs and have legal prostitution. I mean,
and then on top of that, we're going to import in all the immigrants from Syria and every other country that's screwed up like Libya.
Well, obviously, their drug trade isn't working because they have those legal drug dispensaries that you can go to. But the problem is apparently everybody wants fucking cocaine, and I'm pretty sure cocaine is still illegal. So their little experiment isn't working because people are just seeking more hardcore shit. I mean, just like the U.S., man. Two people I know in the past.
So you're saying that marijuana and prostitution is a gateway to cocaine?
No, I'm saying that they need to make more stuff legal, and they can try to cut these black markets off at the head by creating, because if you can just, and I know people think that's
you mean nip it in the bud is what you mean.
Yeah, because these guys are being fueled by so much money, just the same way that the Mexican cartels and whatever cartels get so much money from illicit drugs. And the human trafficking trade just follows along the line with all this bullshit. And I mean,
so you're talking about legalizing it?
It is legal there.
No, I'm pretty sure cocaine's not legal.
Right, but everything else is. I mean, the sex is legal, the drugs are legal, just not cocaine and slavery. I mean,
it's very specific though. Like if you go to like a weed dispensary, as far as the last time I heard about it, you can only buy and consume it within that dispensary. You can't take it home. I don't know how the prostitution works, but I mean, I'm just saying that they've done a little bit here and there.
Well, Colorado hasn't gotten this bad. I mean, it's not like this in Colorado's.
No, I'm just arguing that people are going to do this shit anyways and be completely insane. So, and I know 2 people who died in the past 2 months from opioid deaths, and that shit's been illegal for how many years?
Oh, but the poppy since 1850, when the British Opium Wars against China, what happened was the people in the UK and London were buying Chinese silks and tea, and the bankers in London noticed that all the silver was disappearing from the banks and being sent to China. So they had to figure out some way to get the silver sent back. So they got the army and the navy to work with Chinese drug dealers to sell opium to the Chinese masses and set up opium dens everywhere. And when the Chinese government tried to fight them, there was a war between the British and the Chinese government that the Chinese government lost. And so, which is why in China, the death now, using drugs is punishable by death because it's unpatriotic. And it's, I mean, there's famous, things that have happened, it's cheaper to just shoot somebody in the head with a .22 and execute 1,000 drug addicts in a stadium than have to deal with them. So that's what they did. But there was a history behind that. That was Britain exploiting them on account of, that's the first manipulation of silver, and silver has been rigged and manipulated ever since 1850. Chinese, the UK opium war against China, where they basically forced the Chinese people to become addicted to opium. So
now,
anyway,
you talked about guns. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I didn't know all that. But did you know that on Wednesday we're going to be able to download the printable guns?
Oh, I heard about that.
I'm so excited.
I don't have a 3D printer.
Neither do I, but I don't care. I'm downloading the plans anyways. I want that Liberator, that new Liberator that shoots the 22 the 22 long. You can only shoot one bullet, and the barrel's done.
Shit.
It's called like the Liberator 2.0, and it has a metal firing pin, but that's the only metal thing in the gun. And every time you shoot a 22, the barrel it goes bye-bye. You got to replace the barrel.
Dusty made it here. I thought he was supposed to be plugged into a CPAP machine.
I should be, but I kind of woke up a few minutes ago and decided that I was going to join you guys.
Well, thanks. I'm really glad to have you. Sorry for keeping you awake. I mean, when I plug myself in, I take trazodone, and then I'm pretty much dead to the world. In between trazodone and maybe some what's that over-the-counter one? I don't remember everything that I take, but it's basically the trazodone knocks you out. It spikes your serotonin levels, and I have a prescription for it. So to all the legal authorities monitoring. You could check with Walmart. They've got my prescription for it. So,
I don't take anything like that, but
it's not a controlled substance, but you need a prescription.
But I do like that machine. It's really helping me. So.
It is. I told you it helped me a lot. It really did.
Oh yeah.
But I'm glad to hear that you're sleeping better now. I'm sorry to keep you awake for the Lock and Load show, but that's cool.
Well, every now and then you have to make sacrifices, right?
Rumor has it. So I got my camera to work, Dusty. Check it out. My camera's actually working. Microsoft apparently did something so they can recognize either Dell. I mean, I don't know. It's like just a Dell laptop, but I guess it didn't used to recognize my camera after the last update. But so I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden it's letting me show my beautiful face, which needs a shave. Anyway,
I usually turn mine off, but people don't want to see my ugly face.
Well, it's okay. I know it's probably sleepy, but I'm glad to hear the CPAP. You've got one of those dream things that I got, the same model or a different one?
I don't know. I have one that is awesome.
Dream Station?
Yeah, you can't even hear it run. So there's no noise to it.
I promise your snoring is a lot louder than that machine if you weren't on it.
Oh yeah. My wife loves it.
I bet. Anyway, okay. So the other thing that's happening, next news story. Let me put up another news story real quick of world chaos. Next news story. Might be interested in this one. Inflation, newsflash. Inflation soars in Venezuela. Inflation, according to the price of a Bitcoin in Venezuela, the inflation rate in Venezuela has now reached 3.5 million %. 3.5 million %. And
he's going to have to raise the minimum wage a 24th time to try to keep up.
Well, their solution is to it takes off some zeros off their currency or something like that, so people might think that it's worth. I mean, they're just clueless. It's a hopelessly. The government just can't do anything right. This is what you have to look forward to with socialism. 3.5 million % inflation. Free everything for everybody. I mean, he gave out, Maduro gave out like rabbits instead of, because they couldn't give people food or toilet paper, but so they gave everybody rabbits so they could have something to eat. But apparently they're trying to make these rabbits so they'll have babies and they'll have more to eat later. So nobody's actually eating the rabbits. They're trying to grow more or something. It's a crazy country over there. And how wouldn't it be with that kind of inflation rate? That's just insane. All right, and next story. I think the FANGs are getting totally destroyed. I don't know how Apple's going to do tomorrow, but Facebook. I can't think of a nicer guy for it to happen to, but the Facebook was down some incredibly huge amount, and I think the shareholders have had it with Zuckerberg. So everybody. What happened is the banks create money and they give it to investment people, and they just buy Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google, Alphabet, and so they're called the FANGs, and that they have been pretty much responsible for the indexes going up. And people that do ETF investing might, just turn off your brain and buy the ETF derivatives. They've been making money there, but no longer. They just got dumped really hard, and so we'll see what happens. And time for a gratuitous volcano video.
Wait a minute. I want to see what you have for Monty there.
For what?
Monty Python. I'm a Monty fan.
Well, go to Zero Hedge and find the story on the FANGs getting destroyed if you want to see it.
All right. Okay.
Well, save that for tomorrow. I need to show some volcano video. I think the boat ramp is still there. So can you see all this volcano footage?
Yep.
So I used to live right here. This is Kapoho and Pohiki. There used to be homes there. And basically up on the volcano, there's the boat ramp. It's still there. The Isaac Haley Beach Park. The lava's getting closer and closer.
So all this is more serious than you originally thought it was going to be.
Well, it doesn't. It's more serious to the other side of the island. I mean, obviously 2 subdivisions were wiped out. So the serious part of it, as far as it affecting the state, they're not collecting real property taxes on like 2 whole subdivisions worth of homes, and the state was already broke before their tax revenue base just got disappeared by the volcano. And up on the top of the volcano, the real estate market, like where I made an offer on a home, is basically there hasn't been anything that's sold in the last month or 2. And it's like frozen up there. And there's cracks in the main belt road that they're trying to, I think that they're going to try and pave over them. There was one small sinkhole that developed from the main highway into the Volcano Golf and Country Club, but that was a relatively small sinkhole. But there are cracks in the main highway from the main volcano caldera. And every day there's like a few hundred tiny earthquakes, and at like 2 a.m. there's one big one. So
all right, let's go back. Say what if you would have got that home up there? What would things be like today?
It's still there.
It's still there. Okay.
Yeah. Here's the boat ramp.
Is it damaged?
I doubt it. I mean, there's been little earthquakes every day possible. I would guess, just from what I saw, that there's more cracks in the garage floor, which was cement. There was already one crack in it, and there's probably more. But it's not on a cement foundation. It's post-empiric construction. So I imagine the house is just fine.
But so it hasn't been overtook by lava, no fire or anything?
No.
Okay. So how far has the lava actually burned then?
All the way to the ocean. I mean, you're looking at it. But this is down at sea level. And the house that I made an offer on is at 4,500 feet. So obviously lava flows downhill, and this is where all the lava, basically what's happening up on the top is that the volcano, the magma lake, the pool of magma under the main Kilauea caldera has all gone downhill to this fissure number 8 and is exiting here. So there's no support holding up the caldera walls. So the caldera up on the top is getting wider. The walls are kind of falling and down, and the support for the caldera is disappearing because there's no lava there, and it just, when all the sides of the walls fall down into the whatever magma is still there, there's an explosion, which about once a night registers as a 5.0 earthquake, and that shakes everything. But it's really not an earthquake. It's an explosion of rock falling into the magma pool underneath the main volcano.
So where's the lava bombs?
Where's the what?
The lava bombs.
Lava bombs going up. You mean like the one that went into the volcano tour boat?
Yeah.
That's basically right at the ocean. The lava goes into the ocean, and the water is... there's an explosion. Lava rocks, molten rock gets sent flying into the air, or just rocks.
I was just joking.
Okay.
Is there still any risk of it?
Of what?
I mean, is there any risk of this volcano eruption?
But what they said was they had a meeting, and what they said was on the main... I mean, this eruption is still going on down at Fissure 8.
Right.
But on the top, up on the top, they had a meeting with the U.S. Geological or U.S. Geology Survey, and they said there is only a 1% chance of a major explosion. And everybody wanted to talk about what would happen if there was a major explosion. So, I mean,
okay, what would happen?
Basically, they said to go north. Everybody should go north. Unfortunately, the roads go either east or west. They don't go north. So there's a dirt road that goes north to Mauna Kea, but all the paved roads only go like to Hilo. And that's the whole problem, is Highway 11 is has some cracks. And I think they closed like one of the lanes for the Department of Transportation is trying to see if they can fix the road so people can drive on it. Because there's cracks opening up in the main road going by the volcano, the Belt Road, Highway 11.
Okay, so you're saying that if this risk actually happened, you would have to evacuate where you live?
No.
No? Okay.
No. If you lived in the caldera, or not in the caldera, but if you lived like where I tried to buy a house and made an offer, then
okay.
you'd have to evacuate. If there was a huge plume of ash, I mean, that like covered everything, then you might have to evacuate. Right now, there's nobody has evacuated. It's just nobody's buying any homes with constant earthquakes every few minutes.
Well, I can see that too. And what would the value be if you had bought that home now?
Well, there was an article on that. Basically, they're assuming that eventually prices will. They're saying, well, prices were a little high, and they'll probably be lower if and when. But first, you're going to have to find a bank that will write a loan on it. I mean, and whether there's a mandatory fire insurance pool with a lava exclusion. So, but I don't know, even if the insurance companies, in spite of the law saying they can't write insurance unless they cover these things, the banks just probably won't write a loan because everybody that owned a house in those two subdivisions probably stopped paying their mortgages when all that's left is just smoldering lava rock of what used to be a house. So
maybe it's time to buy.
Well, they say buy when there's blood in the streets or lava in the streets, I guess. I think J.P. Morgan said that. But buy when there's blood in the streets. But you have to find a bank willing to write a loan unless you're a cash buyer. And there aren't too many of those. I mean, that's not how our crazy system works. It's basically money is created. When somebody buys a house, it's like they're printing money because the bank just gives them a loan from creates bank money, and it's like is like when they give you a credit card, when you buy something on your credit card, you're printing money.
Oh, I thought that you would just use some of that Bitcoin and go buy it.
Well, I just traded some of my Bitcoin, swapped it for some Digibyte the other
All
day.
right.
So I have
Use
like
that-
2,557. Well, I'm going to wait until the banking system, which is also teetering. I mean, look what's happening in Europe with the EU. I mean, Italy is backing UK's withdrawal from Brexit because they owe the ECB so much money that they can't pay. I mean, they're just. I think the Italian banks. I don't know if Monte de Paschi is going to go down, but we're talking about what's going to happen is going to be cascading bond defaults followed by catastrophic derivative unwinds, and then the banking system will just freeze up. And then we were talking about that in the pre-chat, that if like when Trump threatened to put a 20% tariff on like Mercedes and BMW, if he had actually done that, Deutsche Bank would have just collapsed right then, and then all the banks would have frozen up worldwide. But the threat was enough to get Jean-Claude Juncker over and try to work something out before he actually. But that derivative bubble was ready to just unwind and blow up, and the banks will stop working, and then talk to me about what cryptocurrency is worth when it's the only thing standing, and your bank closes up.
All that crap.
Yeah, well, it's a free country. You're free to believe that everything will go along on the good ship Lollipop for as long as you want.
Look at the farming industry. Look at how they all said that
Soybeans. How's your soybean? Soybeans are.
Soybeans have been up ever since all this happened.
Yeah, but they were crashed down harder than a baby's. I can't think of the right word.
Yes,
they were crashed down so damn hard.
It was in the toilet.
Well, it's almost as worthless as gold. So soybeans.
I'm not gonna say that. Soybeans have lost $1 to $2.
I saw the chart. I saw the chart for like the last year, and they just it doesn't look pretty.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Today's price that I seen earlier was $8.50. I could have delivered beans to my local elevator for $8.50 today. Is that above profit margin? No. Well, there would be some profit in them. I still have a bin of soybeans. But soybeans the last 2 days have been up 10 to 15 cents each day. And I haven't looked today to see where they finished.
All right, you got to get yourself one of these leopard tanks. Park it on your farm. Actually, what you can get for something you can afford is wait a minute, inventory, specialty equipment. You need to get one of these anti-tank guns that 37.
That goes with my hedgehog, right?
Well, it's you're into reloading. It gives you everything you need to reload it right here. So, I mean, it'd be fun reloading these.
Where's Squib? Where's Rupon?
They were here a little while ago. I don't know if
did I chase them away?
No, they're still there. I tried to get us off of soybeans.
I know you did. I was going to educate you on what Trump did today, but okay.
Well, he went out and made nice to the person. Italy is in they're having a big brouhaha over in Italy because one of their politicians said basically the same thing that Mussolini said when he was in power. Basically, the more enemies we have, the more honor, or something like that. And that's exactly what Mussolini said. And so everybody's all in a kerfuffle over there. But that's how it is. The world is in absolute chaos. And it gets crazier every day. You know?
Yep. Okay. The overnight markets are only up 50 cents tonight, so maybe the soybean run is over. But the overnight on corn is up a penny. So
all right.
The markets are going up. All I can say is Trump's trade policy has pushed the markets up.
Yeah, it has, but the market's going up doesn't change the fact that there's a gigantic debt bomb waiting to go off. State pensions, 21 trillion national debt. It's just insolvent banks. It's just a question of time. I mean, Trump's making all the right moves, but it's all like a house of cards at some point. And he's going to shut the government down. Or to get funding for the wall, and I mean, he said he's tired of Congress. I mean, Congress just is not going to do what they said they were going to do. And
so, are you against that? To me, I think that's a terrific.
I'm not for whether I'm for or against anything. It makes a little difference. But if the government shuts down, that's just another world chaos event happening.
Yeah, but do you realize how much money the government makes by shutting down? I
thought it loses money when it shuts down.
No, it makes money.
I've never heard of the government making money. Maybe they don't waste as much or something, but
yeah. No, if they shut down, it makes the government money because the government wastes so much money. But the problem is everybody thinks that all the wages and all that has to be retroactive and people get paid. But yes, no, that is a smart move. And actually, if he would change the fact that we retro pay, it would actually help.
Okay, I wanted to say hi to Steve D out there, and Mike Helton Survival and Prepping made it out into the external chats. Hi, everybody out there. Sorry, I've been trying to do too many things on my computer. Didn't see anybody. Wanted to talk about the Ninth Circuit decision on open carry in Hawaii.
Okay, that's a good topic also. That'll kill you.
That'll kill me?
Yeah.
But before we talk about that, I'll get into I wanted to talk about, since you were talking about something about the government, I went to get my auto registration renewal thing, pay my tax. I went to the bank, took out a couple $100 and went in paper currency and went over to wait in line for the greeter who hands out numbers. And so basically I was telling people in line that if I was in Arizona, I could pay this with Bitcoin instead of having to do all that and then do it, or at least do it on the internet. But so you've got to go wait in line, and people were actually there to think that well, this will help pay for the roads, or this will help pay for healthcare or something. I was like, there isn't anything the county government is going to do with this money except, hire more government employees. If you want to save the taxpayers' money, they can't. The unions won't let them fire any government employees. So what they ought to do is just fire people in alphabetical order instead of because they raise the GET tax. So, people are basically queuing up to give the government their money and thinking that somehow the government will actually do. Are they going to pay for the mayor's? Maybe they'll use the money to pay for the mayor's hostess bar tab at the Evergreen Lounge in Honolulu, but they aren't going to do. They just misspend money and waste it. It's just amazing that people. I don't need the government for anything, pretty much. So, but there we go, waiting in line. People should be able to pay that on the internet anyway, but they don't want. You can only pay in cash or checks, apparently. You can't use a debit card. You can't use a credit card. So anyway, all right. Let's move to a gun topic. do a screen share of this decision. I talked about this in the Gun Channels lobby, but I don't think anybody was awake at the time. So I'll do it again here, since it involved a Hawaii issue. Let's see. All right. So this is the Young versus State of Hawaii case. Basically, George Young had applied several times or a couple of times for a carry permit, and it was never issued. And what was really funny, that the oral argument is available on YouTube of this case, and the state of Hawaii didn't send anybody. It was the county of Hawaii that sent somebody. And they sent this kid in a suit. He looked like he went to college and had a law degree, but he was just completely unprepared. And it was, when the judges asked him questions, he didn't have any right answers. And what's funny about this decision is basically the judges ripped it was a 2-to-1 opinion in a 3-judge panel, and they spent like half the time ripping the dissenting judge on the court. But you have to go all the way to page 56 until you get the money shot, because I kind of went through this. I'm going to skip ahead to the money shot where they actually have the decision. Let's see, page 56. 52. 54. Like here, beyond the dissent's misconception about how Section 134-9 operates, its analysis under intermediate scrutiny is utterly unpersuasive. And that's the first time I've ever seen 2 adjectives in a sentence that begin with the letter U. Utterly unpersuasive. Oh, great. But page 56. What's my memory of it? Is that where it starts? Or did this thing get moved?
Wow, I'm getting dizzy. Okay.
I'm trying to find the right page. I'm sorry. They're still complaining about the dissent here. Come on, did they move it? Oh, great. Here it is, page 59. I'm sorry, maybe I got my numbers confused. Young has indeed stated a claim that Section 134-9's limitations on the issuance of open carry licenses violate the Second Amendment. 134-9 is the policy on basically all the firearms codes in there, including permits to carry. It says the decision is reversed as to the county, dismissed as to the state, and remanded for further proceedings consistent with this opinion. So basically, they reversed the ruling of the lower court, dismissed the motion of the state to uphold the ruling of the lower court, and remanded the case back to Hawaii County, and they're telling the judge to follow their instructions. Now, the thing is, like, those who remember Peruta case, there was a 3-judge panel that decided open carry was or concealed carry permits should be issued, but then the one dissenting judge became the most senior judge in the Ninth Circuit, and he organized a sua sponte en banc hearing. So he created this 11-judge panel, and they heard the arguments, and they reheard the case, and they ruled that concealed carry is not protected by the Second Amendment. But they didn't rule, and according to this decision, that open carry wasn't protected. They just said that concealed carry wasn't protected. So they basically told the lower court, that the Second Amendment does protect open carry, the right to carry a firearm does exist outside, but it's going to be up to the lower court to make another ruling if there isn't an 11-judge panel. I think what's happening here is that with another conservative being appointed who is a pro-gun guy to the Supreme Court, they didn't want, if they made any other ruling, they knew they would be reversed. So by the Supreme Court if it was appealed. And I think they're kind of, they don't need any more Supreme Court SCOTUS stomping on them. But this whole opinion read like, besides dissing both the dissenting opinion and the legal counsel for the county of Hawaii, basically they said what they told. I'm trying to remember exactly what they said, but they said, well, if your lawyer says something in court, then you're actually responsible. You're stuck with it. And he basically, the judges asked him a bunch of specific questions. If you hear the oral argument on YouTube on the Ninth Circuit, they have their own YouTube page, so you can just do a search on YouTube and find it. But when they're not insulting the other judge, they're basically insulting the attorney for the county. So, let's see. The state and county here offers some empirical studies in support of the argument that Section 134.9 is a reasonable means of reducing gun violence. But where does the dissent actually engage with such evidence? It doesn't. Its analysis of the evidence is nothing more than a conclusory assertion that Hawaii has met its burden, citing to significant empirical evidence, apparently 2 or so pages in its brief is significant. And the state of Hawaii did submit a brief. They just didn't send a lawyer. I wouldn't be surprised if they couldn't afford to send a lawyer because the state is broke. And by explaining logical interferences behind it, so basically, the more broke and bankrupt the state becomes, the less they can afford to send attorneys to the Ninth Circuit and infringe on our Second Amendment rights. I gotta clear my throat here 1 second, guys.
Yeah, they just keep banging away, and what can we do here? What can we do there? And I saw a funny report today where my attorney general was like, we need to stop these. We're doing everything we can to stop the defense arms or whatever, to releasing those 3D printed weapons. We're doing everything we can for public safety. People are going to be dead in the street. And it's like, if someone really wanted this information, they could just get it online. Like, it already exists on the internet without, yeah, it'll be on a regular internet page, but it's already out there if you search for it.
Right, here's where I'm going to read this part. The dissent is comfortable letting the state perform its intermediate scrutiny analysis because it is the legislature's job, not ours, to weigh conflicting evidence and make policy judgments. Dissent at page 74, then it says no statement could be more clearly indicate where the dissent goes wrong. We are certainly not evaluating a mere policy judgment, but rather determining the scope and application of constitutional right. Bottom, the dissent would have us fundamentally reject Heller and construe the Second Amendment as nothing more than an illusory promise. Where the dissent might think Heller was wrongly decided, it is far beyond our power to overrule it. Okay. Well, so they're basically saying we can't overrule the Supreme Court. Sorry. They've been trying to ignore the Supreme Court, the state has. We do not take lightly the problem of gun violence, which the state of Hawaii has understandably sought to fight with every legal tool at its disposal. We see nothing in our opinion that would prevent the state from regulating the right to bear arms, for the Second Amendment leaves the state a variety of tools for combating including some measures regulating handguns. But here's the part where it's like a marriage. But for better or for worse, the Second Amendment does protect the right to carry a firearm in public for self-defense. I'm going to read that again. But for better or for worse, so they personally don't believe in it, the Second Amendment does protect a right to carry a firearm in public for self-defense. Yeah. Oh my God. Be still my heart. We would thus flout the Constitution if we were to hold that, quote, in regulating the manner of bearing arms, the authority of the state has no other limit than its own discretion. While many respectable scholars and activists might find virtue in firearms carry regime that restricts the right to a privileged few, the enshrinement of constitutional rights necessarily takes certain policy choices off the table. And they cite Heller. So, we actually, basically, the Peruta case, they ruled that the right to concealed carry is not protected by the Second Amendment, which only leaves open carry. So, but even though they've made this decision, I'm not going to hold my breath until the police chief issues a permit. He's not going to. He was appointed by politicians. He's not elected. And he's going to do what the politicians tell him to do. And these are left-wing politicians who will tell him not to issue permits. And he won't issue permits unless the Supreme Court orders him to. So, I mean, I don't know why we even need a permit, but because there's a Second Amendment. And with this court ruling, it's the state law says you need a permit, but they have admitted that they won't. I mean, the lawyer in court said, out of everybody that's applied for a carry permit, we've never seen a case where anybody proved, I think the code says an exceptional need or exceptional circumstance. There's never been an exceptional circumstance. So there's never been a case in the history of the state of Hawaii. And what it was that nobody has issued a permit for the last 20 years, and all records over 20 years have been destroyed. So there's no records of anybody ever having been issued a permit in at least on this island. So, I mean, at what point I guess it's just, are we waiting for the state to go completely bust so it doesn't matter because they can't afford to pay the police anyway, or what? It's because the state is pretty much at that point, having just lost millions of dollars of tax income, property tax income. So they raised the GET taxes, the general excise tax, a small few percentage points, and that doesn't go into effect until January 1st of next year. But everything will go up a little more, as if the cost of living from just having everything shipped here on a unicorn ship called the Jones Act approved ship, U.S. built, U.S. Union crewed, maintained in the U.S. There's like hardly any of these ships exist, so it costs a fortune to ship like food here or anything, not to mention ammo on a ship. So everything costs more here. But it's nice to win a case. It's just that I'm not going to hold my breath and wait for the police chief to issue permits, because I know he's not going to unless somebody handcuffs him to his desk and tells him sign the fucking permits. He's just not going to sign a permit. I mean, I imagine the SCOTUS would actually have to hold him in contempt of court. And so good news, there was something I saw that if Trump wins another term, that Ginsburg plans on retiring in 5 years. So if Trump wins a second term, he'd be president, and he'd get to appoint another pro-gun justice. But she's, I think, 85 now, and so I don't know whether she's 80 and going to be 85 or 85 and going to be 90. I don't know, but
you'll probably sleep through that too.
What? Who will sleep through what?
Ginsburg, she'll sleep right through that too. You haven't seen that? Okay, you haven't seen that one yet.
No, is there a meme that I should be looking at or something that I missed?
She slept through a lot of cases already.
Well, that's what clerks are for, right?
Yeah. So I'm saying she'll probably sleep through her retirement too.
All right, I'm turning off the Young versus State of Hawaii screen share for a little bit. Well, let's just hope Trump gets a second term and we get some more pro-gun Supreme Court appointments. At some point, Father Time is undefeated, and she will have to retire. I mean, the simple fact is that the clerks do all the work for Supreme Court justice, and so they don't really have to do anything except nod their head, and hopefully not sleeping. And I enjoy listening to Supreme Court cases. They're usually well argued, and the justices. Some of the justices are awake and ask intelligent questions, but I know Thomas is eventually going to retire too. I mean, Father Time is undefeated, and eventually people either just can't even do anything anymore, and however much they would like to politically influence the court, I mean, we're all mortal. So,
and we've already changed it quite a bit. So
yeah, well, we're going in the right direction on that. It's just I wonder if
maybe we will change it quite a bit. Let's put it that way.
Well, we'll see if we can get Kavanaugh on there if they start hearing Second Amendment cases, because so far, ever since Heller, they have refused to pick up. They didn't hear Peruta. They didn't hear that one in Florida, where the guy was basically arrested because he was a black man carrying a gun. Never mind that he had a permit. And it was that was one of the reasons I joined Florida Carry. And
you're talking about that recent thing.
Hey, Squib!
Somebody comes to life. Squib has been reborn. He's alive. He's alive.
I've been here.
My screen says you left.
No, he's been here the whole time. He just hasn't been talking.
Okay, now he's gone. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have did that.
No, he's still here. I'm looking at him. He's still here. He's just not talking.
Go ahead, Squib. Talk.
I was just trying to figure out if he's talking about that recent.
The recent one about the fishing case, where the guys from Florida Carry were on a pier fishing.
No, last week when that guy blasted the other guy.
I missed that. I must have missed that case. Somebody got shot again
over a handicap parking spot.
I didn't even hear about that one.
You really need to get off the island.
Well, the Yellowstone supervolcano blows up, then you guys need to get over to the island.
Yeah, well, you need to get off that island and get to the mainland.
What for?
Because I live on the mainland.
Well,
well, if Yellowstone goes, you're screwed too, Hawaii. I mean, it's just a matter of time.
Well, there'll be a 10-year volcanic winter where there's no photosynthesis, but at least I won't be buried under 6 feet of volcanic ash and microscopic glass particles that'll lacerate your lungs if you just walk on the ground.
Yeah, but we'll be gone real early and be first. We're not going to have to deal with the suffering of starvation.
Well, I might get sick of
this, Squib. I don't think we have any volcanoes in Michigan, do we?
Not that I'm aware of.
Michigan, we talked about this last week, and I think Squib found the chart. You're going to be buried. You're in zone 2.
Yeah, we're going to have 6 centimeters of ash. 6 centimeters. centimeters.
of glass
Okay.
glass.
Which is less than snow, right?
Well, snow doesn't go when you walk on it, go up into the air and lacerate your lungs with microscopic glass particles. Okay. And it doesn't clog your engines. It doesn't stop people from driving or flying. I mean, you know, how are you going to walk outside your house to get water from your well pump if you can't walk because the dust that'll get kicked up will kill you
Okay, why do I have to go outside then?
because you have a water pump to get water, right?
I have something called electricity that pumps the water into the house.
Okay, so you aren't going to leave your house ever.
No.
You have filtering to keep the dust out of your house.
Yeah. Yes, I do actually.
Okay,
I'm not worried about Yellowstone. And if I lived where you lived, I really wouldn't be worried about Kilauea or whatever. Just like all the people that have never gone through a hurricane and then they see that Katrina bullshit on TV and they think every hurricane's like that, and it's not.
Well, I'll tell you.
Or the people that have never been in snow and think Michigan gets 6 feet of snow.
Over here, when you wake today, it was over. We have had a few days of blue skies, but most of the days you wake up and it's this gray overcast. And I imagine that's what a real volcanic winter would be like. You can't see the sky. It's just gray overcast of volcanic ashes or gases, volcanic gas. I won't say ashes. It's really gets mentally wearing to just look up and it's another gray, overcast, dreary day of volcanic gases, and you can't see the sun. You go out to the pool, and it's just like there's no sun, you know. So it's like it's not as fun as but the winds have been blowing out for a few days. Not today, but I think like last Thursday we had a nice blue sky for a day. But it's in Kona, it just gets really dreary from all the volcanic gases until because it's the heat. I don't know if it's the heat or the trade wind patterns have not like normalized since this volcanic activity. I think that's it, because that's why there's so much gas just hanging over Kona. There's just enough wind to blow it from the volcano over to Kona, you know. But so,
and there actually is a syndrome for that. I mean, like in Michigan, or sometimes we get it from having rainy spells. The sky is always gray from rain, but that usually happens in winter here. So I'm sure it takes a toll on you also.
Well, I have you guys to cheer me up.
There you go.
Let's see.
I'd get on a plane and leave, but
I took a trip to Arizona. You know, got to open carry for a while. That was nice.
yeah. Well,
Although I concealed carried most of the time, but at least I carried. So
Arizona's still there. At least that's
yeah,
awesome.
It survived me. Of course, if the super volcano blows, then it'll be a lot closer than you are in Michigan. But I like their gun laws in Arizona, and I like Whiskey Row in Prescott. And they have so many great restaurants in Prescott. I could just live happily ever after at their restaurants over there. Prescott Station, Terra Thai, and there's a great Italian place too, whose name eludes me. But it's amazing. I mean, they really have top world-class culinary art chefs over there, which was, considering it's kind of a small town, I was kind of surprised.
You'd probably make money by moving to Arizona. Sell your property there and buy something in Arizona.
Well, I wouldn't call that making money, but we'll worry about that later. So, anybody got anything else on general world chaos besides that we haven't covered so far? I think I'm going to show people. I've shown it before, but I haven't shown. Some of the people may not have seen my camping knife, kind of my bushcraft knife, Kydex sheath, Dawson knives out of Prescott, Arizona. Sand Viper pattern, and just a really full tang, micarta handle, awesome blade. Camping knife. So, in case you haven't seen it before, I haven't done a video on this yet, so it's on my list of things I have to do a video on, like my water distillation, my H2O Labs water distiller. But anyway, it's a pretty cool knife. Oh yes, this will cut. Dawson makes great. They have a YouTube channel, Dawson Knives. It's an American company. Check it out. I'll have to do a video on it at some point. But got my water H2O Labs water distiller going 24/7. Keep all my water receptacles filled up. In case there's any insanity that actually spreads from the rest of the world to America. So how's everybody doing out there? Has anybody gotten anything new in the firearm or prepping world to talk about? Because I think we covered all the news stuff. I saw a film the other night about Benghazi, 13 hours, the secret soldiers of Benghazi or something like that. It was a pretty good film. And they had a lot of night vision stuff in there about that basically they're protecting the enemy and they were basically designating targets with infrared target designators using their night vision. It was pretty interesting.
I wanted to meet Boone and Chris Pranto or Tonto, whatever his name is, when I was at the NRA show, but I missed them, so I didn't get a chance to meet them. But I wanted to. They were there.
At least you made it to the NRA show. What town in Texas was the NRA show in this year?
Dallas.
It was in Dallas. Okay. All right, and I was saying earlier that there's a big controversy over Austin changing its name or something because apparently Austin was not against some 1800s Mexican slavery law or something. I don't know, but they want to change the town's name from Austin to something else.
It'd be funny if they did, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, what would they change it to?
I don't know. Austin's big slogan is "Keep Austin Weird," so they'd probably
keep Austin weird.
Yeah, that's their slogan because of all the hippies, the liberals, and the free love and the peace and the sex and the drugs and the rock and roll and all that other.
Well, that sounds like there was lots of. I was in Prescott, and it seemed to be like there was a lot of hot women there who were very pro free love and sex, but they weren't all left wing.
It's mostly left wing in Austin because they got UT and everything else down there. It's a college town,
Yeah, and I think I don't know whether it's Amazon or Apple or Google has a office there, so you've got that kind of left wing mentality that.
Transgenders and everybody else's and
and they're basically you've got Twitter and companies like that are shadow banning Republicans and Google it's all people controlling they want to control the world by controlling people's perception of the world and it's like Google wants to control the world by perception of the world by controlling everybody's iPhone or Android phone. Like you can't buy a Google phone without them having all their apps and monitoring devices on it. And it's just
Well, you can delete them afterwards.
Well, I don't know.
Take home and delete all the Google stuff.
They're pretty good at making things invasive, and it's like nothing will work unless you have all of their little software apps on it, and basically, if you want to do something with it, it won't work. So it's very invasive what they're doing, and
oh, my phone's listening to me because I was sitting here watching a movie with my mom the other day. We were watching, well, not the other day, but Interstellar was on, and she was wanting to know what the movie was about. And I said, well, there's this wormhole in space, and all of a sudden, my phone is sitting a foot away from me. It's got a black screen on it, and all of a sudden it lights up and says, here's what I found about a wormhole.
Well, guess what, Dusty? Now that you've got a CPAP machine, I guarantee you, if you're going to start getting commercials on your TV, if you watch TV or cable from that SoClean company for cleaning your CPAP machine. I mean, I have one of their SoClean devices already, and so I don't need another one. But I keep seeing the SoClean commercials, which is like it's like a machine that has hook up your CPAP machine and it pumps in activated oxygen to kill any bacteria that could be growing inside your hose or machine, your sleeping machine, and so it's
really?
Like, yeah, I get like 10 or 12, a dozen commercials every day for the SoClean machine, and I already have one.
So do I, but I don't have a SoClean machine. Is this? And I've been looking at that. My wife and I have talked about it. Is it worth having?
Yeah, because you'll get sick if you don't, from bacteria that grow in there, and it's because if you talk to the person who gave you that machine, they'll tell you to clean it every day, and that means you have to take out the hose, clean it. I mean, it's just easier to hook it up to that damn thing. But you're going to get commercials for the rest of your life with that for that CPAP machine, because that's the way Google works, for the SoClean, thing. So I mean, look it up once on Amazon, and you'll get commercials on TV. But they're going to give you commercials about something. So I mean, who cares about what your commercials are?
I've been looking at that, but that machine really does work.
Yeah. You have to replace every once in a while the thing that supplies it, the cartridge that supplies the activated. It works by pumping in activated oxygen through your hose and into your machine, and the activated oxygen kills viruses and bacteria. So I use it when I'm using my machine. I use it. But after I don't know, a year, it didn't cure me of sleep apnea, but it made it to the point where I can get by. If I don't want to use the machine, I could just take my trazodone, fall asleep, and I'll stay asleep long enough that I mean.
How often did you clean your machine before you got that?
I got that before I got the machine.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because I could order it off the internet myself, and for the machine, I had to wait for the healthcare company to approve it, yada yada yada, and then get an appointment to go down, and they show me how to use. So I ordered the SoClean machine before I even had the CPAP machine.
But I've had mine probably two, maybe 3 weeks, but I've never cleaned it yet.
You better start cleaning it, dude. You will get sick.
Really?
Yeah, you'll at least start catching colds and stuff. Yeah, clean it every day. I mean, at least clean it with soap and water for now until you get one of those things.
That's what the guy that I got it from said, and I thought, well, it's just air.
It's not, but it's water, it's air, it's you're breathing in and out. That viruses and germs will that are part of nature. And then that's how people get sick.
All right. Well, I've never cleaned mine yet, so I'm probably due to clean it.
Yeah, you probably are. Well, I'm glad I'm able to help in some small way.
There you go. That's probably the most valuable
thing I've ever said. I wasn't giving out tips. I was just complaining that the world is falling apart. But anyway, or at least it's chaotic out there. I mean, in between Amsterdam red light district police losing control and Great Britain using the army to distribute food and medicine because they're planning on leaving the EU. I mean, and there's like what 240 countries on the planet, nations on the planet, and apparently there's 23 in the EU, and all of a sudden Britain can't somehow live without rationing cards and the army because they were in the EU for a few years, and now they can't live without it. I mean, really?
Okay, I'm going to show what I did tonight.
Okay, what did you do tonight?
Come on. Okay, you have to look at my...
All right, I'll hit present on you 1 second. That's the present.
Yeah, there you go.
What is that?
Those pickles?
Pickles?
Yes, that's what I did
Ooh.
tonight. I made pickles.
Awesome. Kosher pickles? Kosher pickles?
They're just still pickles. I'm not gonna call them kosher because they may have some salt. They may have some salt in them.
Okay.
Because I like salt. So, but I made pickles tonight.
It looked good.
Yep.
Yeah, so turkey sandwich with some pickles sounds good.
We can a lot of stuff in the summertime. So
what else do you can? Well, that's jarring, not canning, but I guess 6 of one, half another dozen of the other.
It's called canning, but we will do some beans. We will do some salsa. We'll do a lot of stuff from our garden if it comes around that we can do it.
All right.
But this year we have more pickles than we know what to do with. Actually, they're cucumbers until you pickle them, right?
Well, you have to figure out something to do with them besides making pickles. I guess you can sell pickles. So.
But only if you pickle them. From the garden, they're called cucumbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool that you have the garden, man. I remember when I was a kid, we had a garden, a plum tree, and we had a strawberry patch and a vegetable garden. But that was so many years ago.
With the weather we've had in Michigan this year and the work I've done, of course, I've been home and I've been able to, since I quit working, I've been home and I've been able to take care of it. This year, I have the best garden I've ever had. So
you need to text us some pictures.
All right. Well,
because usually we just get like pictures of like your machine or something.
I know, but since I quit farming, I'm still farming, but I kind of quit and went to work for somebody else. This year, I have the best garden I've ever had.
Cool. Well, if I ever get some property where I can do my own gardening, you could give me some advice on how to set it up. Did you keep a stockpile of seeds around? I mean, or do you just have a bunch of seeds like for emergencies or anything, or do you just have them for fun for your garden or what?
I'm gonna say I have a little of both. Normally, every year I buy some, but I also save some. So.
Okay, by the way, guys, I wanted to mention I talked to Oily Prepper today. I called her up, and she's doing fine. Their family got through a little just job change deal, and they sold their rig, and I think her husband's working for the county. And her problem is that her internet DSL sucks, and she can't upload any videos because it's so damn slow. And I don't think she wants to commit to doing a weekly show anymore. But it was nice to talk to her just for a little while. I talked to her for 15 minutes and called her up to see how she was doing. And she appears to be doing fine. And I think she booted her son out of the house because he's old enough, and they gave her more room for prepping and stuff. So she's reorganizing all her preps and doing more canning and stuff. But
She still makes some posts on Facebook.
I'm so not into Facebook, but so I had to call her up to find out what was going on.
All right. Well,
but her DSL, her slow DSL, is the reason she said she's not really doing much on YouTube anymore. So
I watch her through Facebook.
I have, I think, a great video I've been wanting to give you guys. I'm going to try it. I think I should post it before in the internal before you guys leave, because it's like a I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a Trump basically as they kind of took the Braveheart movie and put Trump beating up the press, and like it's just so funny. I'm gonna have to dig it out for you guys and post it on the internal, because you'll just die laughing. Or maybe you won't die laughing, but it's funny as shit. See if I could find it in my emails somewhere. Let's see. If I find it, I'll post it in the description underneath in the video description. Let's see. Oh, hey Squib, did you hear about what happened in Hollywood? Basically a gang of left wingers beat up a Marine who was wearing, or attacked a Marine. I don't know if they beat him up. He was wearing a Trump T-shirt and a USA hat, so they attacked him. I mean, that just sucks.
I'm sure he made them regret it.
Well, I don't know if he was outnumbered by some large amount. I mean, I don't know.
You know, if there were like 30 of them, then maybe. But
yeah, I didn't get the details of the story, but I
mean, they're left wingers, so they can't fight anyhow. But whatever.
Well, I mean, who knows? I'll wait. I don't have any facts, so I just was letting you know about it. I'm trying to find this damn video. If I could screen share it, but the music is like, there's dialogue and stuff. So come on, where is it? Come on. It's before this. All right. Well, I gotta find this video really quick. Come on.
Hey Squib, are you home or are you driving home from work?
No, I'm home.
Okay. You're quiet tonight. That's funny.
Funny haha or funny peculiar?
Well, you normally have something to say. You're not helping HVS tonight.
So it's not his job to help me. I'm just glad he's come by and say hello.
I'm here to write the shit, that's all.
Okay, well, I usually don't show up, but tonight I'm here and I should be in bed, but I'm here, so.
Then it's under old mail. This is taking forever for me to find this.
What else was new?
I have to. Damn it. I have bookmarked so many things, and now I lost an email somehow. Did I put it under saved emails, maybe? Jeepers. All right. I can't find anything. Well, it looks like U.S. mail once again didn't leave a box, and they left a note in my mailbox. I'm gonna have to go to the post office tomorrow because the mail person doesn't want to climb up the steps to leave the package at my door. Oh well. Okay. Well, I'm gonna call this chat I'm gonna wrap this chat up. And because we've got to get to the chopper. Any final words out there? Anything anybody has to communicate to the vast viewing audience out here?
Good night.
All right. We've got to get to the
nice to time to not be known.
You've got to get to the chopper. So we'll see you next week, guys. Y'all be cool.
Bye-bye.